You sacrifice your entire weekend, give up your free time, and stare at your notes for 10 straight hours. And after all that effort, your exam comes back with a completely average grade. Meanwhile, your friend spends just one single night flipping through a textbook and walks away with top marks. Traditional studying relies on a slow, outdated, and highly inefficient operating system for learning. Achieving top scores in a fraction of the time requires hacking your biological reactions, adjusting your psychological state, and executing a precise strategy. By systematically exploiting the rules of how the brain actually encodes information, you can do 80% less work to get the same results. Look at the very first minutes of your study session. You sit down, feel the weight of the workload, and instinctively reach for a sugary snack for comfort. But excess sugar actively slows down brain function. It makes learning physically difficult by impairing your reasoning skills and destroying your ability to hold focus. To sustain sharp memory without the inevitable cognitive crash, you have to swap the sugar out. Snack on almonds, walnuts, or fresh fruit to keep your mind fueled properly. Once your physical fuel is corrected, you have to tackle the psychological barrier. Sitting down with the expectation that a session will be endlessly long and boring creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. The brain responds to the expectations you set for it. Researchers at Harvard studied hotel maids and found that merely changing their belief about their daily tasks, framing it as good exercise, actually improved their physical health, lowering their blood pressure and weight. If a mindset shift can trigger measurable changes in the physical body, it also dictates how your brain engages with a task. Telling yourself a session will be quick and easy lowers the mental friction that usually causes distraction, allowing for sharper focus. Controlling your body's fuel and dictating your brain's expectations are mandatory foundational steps. You have to lock these in before you read a single page. The standard way to study is pure brute force, opening the textbook to page 1 and reading chronologically to the end. To cut your study time down, apply the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, as a direct mathematical counter to that chronological reading. This chart shows how academic content is distributed. In most subjects, a small core selection of topics, roughly 20. Then, analyze past exam papers and look for the specific topics your teacher emphasizes in class. Examiners follow highly predictable patterns if you know what to look for. Reading blindly to learn is a massive waste of energy. Elite students map out the test structure beforehand and only read the specific content required to answer those predictable questions. When you give yourself the entire weekend to study for one test, you naturally pace yourself slowly and begin procrastinating. This is Parkinson's law in action. Any task will automatically inflate to fill the exact amount of time you allocate for it. Break this law by setting a strict 30-minute timer. Creating this artificial deadline forces your brain out of passive reading and pushes it directly into a hyper-focus state. During those 30 minutes, avoid the ego trap. It feels productive to restudy concepts you already know well, but it yields no academic growth. Leverage AI tools to accelerate the process. Using programs like ChatGPT as a personal assistant to immediately summarize complex concepts or generate instant mock tests bypasses hours of manual note-taking. True study efficiency demands a specific combination. Imposing artificial time constraints on yourself while ruthlessly focusing only on the weak, uncomfortable topics. By applying these filters, that grueling 10-hour marathon session compresses down into 2 highly focused, high-yield hours. There is one final protocol required to ensure these speed hacks translate into permanent grades: keeping a dedicated mistake notebook. Making an error on a practice test is a natural part of growth, but making the exact same error twice is the ultimate waste of your study time. Right before you walk into the exam room, review only the mistakes you have logged in that notebook. This guarantees continuous upward momentum and eliminates your blind spots. This protocol reclaims the hours once lost to inefficient grinding. It proves that a strategic approach to learning is the most effective way to dominate academically without sacrificing your personal